is really, I mean, it's very impossible for you to convince someone that's already set in their lives and already have a view and an outlook and how they see their lives are, to convince them that that's how your life is going to be. Most people live in a box. They live in a box and they see that, okay, you know what? I've been staying in this particular area. I've been in this particular community, and all I see and all I experience is this is how it's going to be. Versus you, an example, you can come to that same community, right? It could be a big city, and you're just passing through because you know where the opportunities are. You are going in that direction because maybe you need to just stay around there temporarily, but you see the opportunities that's around. But that particular person that's telling you that, hey, there's nothing there, you got to be careful, it's crazy, cool. They're not they're not convinced. And what they're gonna do is that you have to explain to them, and even with you explaining to them, trying to convince them like, hey, this is what I'm doing, and you have all the receipts. Just because they didn't experience it or took those opportunities, they believe that you're not, it's impossible for you to make it. Be careful with people like that because they're not going to help you or even find some type of understanding, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to end up just trying to explain yourself and trying to convince a person that just don't have no vision in their lives. Before I get into the video, let me introduce myself. This is Jim, the best friend, your new best friend. And I invite you guys to please like, share, and subscribe. You see the background. I'm actually at a family's home. This past week, I didn't talk about it on the last video because I was in and out of work, a little distraction. But I'm ask you guys, and I'm gonna ask you guys to pray because I had passed on my grandmother. She passed this Monday that just passed. Currently, right now, I'm actually doing a video. I'm gonna drop it down in another, hour, right? And it's Saturday, and she passed at 8 o'clock Monday night, and the family. She just had her funeral, and it's just really tough. So I'm here. I've been here with my mom and everybody else. They up there, and I'm just chilling. I'm getting a lot of sleep, and I'm gonna go get some stuff for my mom and all that. But it's really tough. That's my grandmother, very sweet woman. It happened. I don't know. Everybody hit everybody else. Everybody's crying and everything. But time to time I'm thinking about it. But I find things to distract myself. But I don't know. But let's get back into the video, right? And I ask you guys to please pray for my family. All right, for strength. Of course, I'm in the hood, as you can see. I'm just finding a place I can just record because everybody's up there. So, but let's get back to the video. Anybody that's trying to okay, I'm gonna use this as an example. I was actually working, right, and this is a good example. And I was speaking to someone earlier. Person didn't come out to be a bad person. We were just chilling. I engaged into a conversation, and I was just telling them about certain things that I'm looking for, or I may need to move to a certain community, move just so I can be closer to work, or meet new people. You know what I mean? How can I say it? There's another word for it though. I say it all the time. I just can't remember it. You're just to network, and I was explaining myself, and I caught on to it already. I got to the point in my life where I see someone that's just questioning me every time I tell them something, and then they compare themselves and say, I tried it. That's when I just cut it off right there. Because what they're trying to do is trying to compare themselves and say, okay, I did this and I did that, and you have to be careful and this, that, and the third, and not realizing that, yeah, we are, especially we working together, but that doesn't mean that I'm into the same thing that you're into. That doesn't mean that, in 9 times out of 10, they don't even know your particular situation. They don't understand that, okay, you may be going through this certain position and where they are, and a lot of people want to get in that area and stay there temporarily. But for them, just because they've been there all their lives and that's all they've done, they believe that what you are seeking and where you want to go is a bunch of BS. And I'm here to let you know, at times, and this is what I actually did, I didn't really get into full detail with that particular person. You're just gonna have to cut that person short. And 9 times out of 10, it'd be people that you don't really know, and they question like, "Yo, why? Like, what do you see that I don't see?" And you get into the point. It'll get to the point where you're gonna try to explain yourself to this person, and no matter what they do, and no matter what you do, or no matter what you say, their response is gonna be in a way of doubt, worry, because they've been there, and that's all it is. You gotta understand too. We all have goals and dreams that we are accomplishing and that we are going to accomplish. But there's certain people that you're seeking, and asking about certain things. And 9 times out of 10, if you're a person like me, you're just asking because they may know or not. And if they don't, cool. But they will try to talk you into not going into that opportunity. Why? Because they may see your vision and it's like, okay, he can or she can do this, but at the same time, I see that they're, an example, I see that they're, outgoing. I see that they have good communication. I see that they're good looking. I see that, they take care of themselves, and people will gravitate towards that. People will give them opportunity. But if it's not me, then I can't help them. They can't do it. And then what's crazy? Those same type of people, and it's crazy. You don't have to know them. They'll get around you just so they can get around you and get closer to you to make sure that you don't make it. Don't ever be afraid to cut people loose, even if you don't just met them and you just already know how they are and you see their mindset already. Don't ever be afraid to cut them off. And like I said earlier, that person that I met, right? Not a bad person, chill, real laid back, we were working, we're just letting the hours go by. But I noticed that the person would get around and then ask questions. Oh, I try to do this, and then I started to play dumb. I continued to play dumb, and I know what they was talking. I just, okay. And then when they trying to get around me, trying to talk and trying to say, I stayed around there, I did this, and I don't think it's when it was time when we were walking, I let them go and I just played it off, talk to somebody else. Because don't ever, and I mean ever, let anyone talk to you in a form of doubt and trying to convince you what you're thinking and what you want to do is delusional. Where you want to go is delusional. Don't ever put yourself in that position, because you are who you are and you believe what you believe. I'll say this as an example, right? Same thing with that same gentleman. Nothing is wrong with him. Again, the things that I've done, the places I've been to, at one point it was just a goal. At one point it was just a dream to get there. And guess what? I've already surpassed that, and I've already been to those places already. And now I'm to the point now I can think about, you know what? I want to go to Brazil again. I want to go to a country in Africa again. And you mean to tell me that person who never left and never seek that opportunity where you want to go seek that area you want to go to, an example, and that opportunity that you stepping into, you already surpassed that person and trying to convince you that, hey, it's a bad place to get there. And then realistically, you just passing through. You just need a place, an example, to just stay. But they try to take, that neighborhood is bad, I want to move there. But not realizing that, hey, you want to stay in that neighborhood, or you want to get closer to that neighborhood, move to that state, because you just want to stay there because you want to be closer to those opportunities in which you are really doing it. So think about it. Don't ever try to convince anyone, and I mean anyone, that anything that you're doing, anything that you want to accomplish, and try to tell them how good it's going to be for you, don't ever convince them, because they're already set in their mind that it's not good for them. Realistically, if someone, you talk about their dream, you talk about your dreams to them, they will not talk down on it, because they have their own path. And think about it. They had their own path and they made the decision. And so it's like all they could only do is just listen to you and find it impressive, or tell you to keep on moving, give you words of encouragement, if that makes sense. So again, like I said, and I'm gonna say this again, don't ever take advice from someone that's set in their minds, that already thought and chose their path and where they want to be, and try to convince you that it's not good, and you're trying to explain to them why it's good for you. Because guess what? Even if you are trying to get into that community, that opportunity that you're seeking, you're already in it. For them, they just see that community, or where you're trying to get to, is just something like it's nothing. Just because they didn't make it for them, that doesn't mean that for you it's not gonna happen. And 9 times out of 10, it's gonna happen for you than them, if that makes sense. So if you like this video, I invite you guys to please like, share, and subscribe to the Best Friend, the new Best Friend. And I thank you guys, and also in advance, I thank you guys for the prayer. And I'm about to go over and get my mom something. She just, just chilling, man. Not easy seeing my mom that way, I miss my grandmother too. Not easy, but again, please like, share, subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video, right? Peace.